So here there are two accounts of creation. Now there are very funny stories online about Adam having two wives. The first one was Lilith, and that God told Lilith to bow down to Adam, and that when Lilith refused, then God went on to make the second woman, who was Eve. Now, where do guys find all these funny stories when the Bible is, well, very simple to read? And that you should stay away from these funny stories that are circulating online, and try and read the Bible and better understand it. And I think that people mostly read Genesis 1 verse 27, where God says that He made both man and woman, and that they also read Genesis 2 verse 22, where God created woman out of man's ribs. And maybe some people go on to believe that there were two women based on these two verses from the scriptures, and that these are funny stories that I have said, and that you should stay away from these stories. And that in Genesis chapter 1 from verse 1 to 31, we find the story of the creation account, God simply speaking, and creation came into existence. Let there be light, and there was light. Let the waters from above divide from the waters from below, so that something will form, firmament will form, and it was so, and commanding the waters from below to to gather together, so that oceans and seas will form. And from 1 to Genesis 1, from verse 1 to 31, you just simply find this story of God commanding, and all this creation came into being. And in Genesis chapter 2, from verse 5 to 25, we read how God did it. It tells us how God did it. How God created man was that He took dust from the ground and He breathed into that dust, and man became a living being. How God created woman was that He took He made man to sleep, to fall into a deep sleep. He took one of man's ribs, and out of that rib formed a woman. And in Job chapter 38, in a series of questions to Job, God asking Job a number of questions, God reveals some of the steps that He undertook to create the whole universe. Maybe the architecture behind it, how He laid up these plans, the foundations, and that God created the whole universe through wisdom. And so there are no two accounts of creation. And you might also read other verses from the Bible that show us how God created other things, such as animals. Animals also have the breath of life, and when they die, the same thing also happens. They go back to the ground, and the spirit of God, it goes back to the Maker, and there are no two accounts of creation. And God in Genesis 2 from verse 5 to 25, and in other verses from the Bible, God is simply trying to explain to people how He did it, how He created, well, everything, how He created the plants, and how He created the plants that at that time, well, he hadn't sent the rain, so the plants could not grow, and that He sent water from under the earth, and this water is the one that made these plants to grow. God is simply trying to show people how He created everything, and that there are no two accounts of creation, only that God in these other verses from the Bible is trying to show people how He created the whole creation, if I can say. So stay away from those stories, avoid those stories of Adam having two wives, and these are just nothing but misleading stories. And that if you find these videos to be helpful, I'd just like to urge everyone to kindly consider subscribing to my YouTube channel. And thank you, and bye bye.